James, this feels like a game everyone involved in this team has been waiting for a good few months now.
Yeah, obviously we've obviously all got reasonable good memories, and we remember what happened to get last time against them. But also, the same token, it's the next game for us, and we're looking to grow the game and grow our game and grow the team and get better each week. So as much as yes, we're looking forward to it, it's also our next opportunity to grow as a team and get better.
After the match on Saturday in Galway, there was a real noticeable confidence about the team, and I think in a game like this where Ireland haven't beaten France in a long time, it would be understandable for a team to lean into an underdog's tag. It doesn't feel like that's what this Irish group are doing. They want to kind of put pressure on themselves. They want to have high expectations.
Yeah, we do. There was a confidence about the team, I think, because of the way they're trained and the way they're built over the last couple of weeks. So it was a genuine confidence that they can take into games, and yeah, they're definitely building into big performances. And yeah.
How rewarding was that victory on Saturday? Not just in terms of scoring a lot of tries, but erasing a lot of the errors that we would have seen at Twickenham the previous week.
Yeah, I think it wasn't so much about erasing a lot of errors. It was about growing our game, as I said. And it was that we can take good confidence from how we performed, and that was the big thing. The big performance part of it. And off the back of the performance, obviously comes lots of tries. But when we finish, there's still areas of our game that we want to grow from that game as well, and things we've learned from the game that hopefully we'll get better at this week as well. We're kind of pretty clear on how we want to play, but just nailing that down and making sure that every time we create opportunities, we take them, and then as with the other end of the pitch, we want to be looking at making sure we can stop teams. So that's an important area of growth as well, at both ends of the pitch.
And if I could just ask about France, then how have they changed under their new coach since he would have played them last?
I think you can see that there's a lot of similar players and stuff, and a lot of the same the threats that they pose. They're definitely all still there. But I wouldn't say there's huge amounts of change. They seem like they're quite a well settled team, which is obviously a big advantage you can have. But I wouldn't say there's huge amounts of change. And from the first couple of rounds we've seen, they're still the same confident team that they were.
James, how much of the Earth Thunder World Cup quarter-final last September has huge your preparations going into Saturday night?
Our main focus is just is growing ourselves as a team. We want to get better week on week. Obviously, like I said, we're all human beings and we all remember what happened, but our focus is on growing ourselves and growing our performance, growing as a squad, and getting better each week on week. So that's our main focus going in.
Do you think there's a big difference between the first half in Twickenham and the first half in Galway?
I think that we recognise we didn't quite come out the blocks so much, and then the guys had a great second half. I think we identified that, and then if you've been around training and stuff and you've seen the way they started and prepared in here, that kind of like fast start has really helped us, and I think that was we identified that. And again, like I keep saying, the team's growing all the time and getting better all the time, and that's part of our growth, about how we get out of the blocks in games. And I think for us, you see that they started so well in Galway straight at the start, and that really helped lay the foundations for a good performance over the 80.
We told Erin King over the last couple of days, she talked about the undercurrent, how she's brought that in. What has she brought to the group generally?
I think what you're seeing is like a young leader that's really kind of authentic. You can see probably her imprint of her personality to the team, which is great. And that kind of like real kind of desire to drive the team forward, I think, is the big thing you really see from her.
Clermont's one of the great cauldrons in world rugby. How equipped are they to cope with it, and how exciting is it for everyone?
Well, I think they've had a reasonable practice with 77,000 people at Twickenham, so I'd say, we're really looking forward to thriving in that environment and looking at it as a real challenge, and it's something to be really excited by and not worried by, and we're really looking forward to being in that environment.
Cheers. There was record attendance last weekend at the match, and I know that the Scotland game at Viva has surpassed 20,000 tickets. How important is that for the sport? There's obviously a real appetite there for the sport and the team.
Yeah, I mean it's something obviously that we're super aware of as a team, and being down in Galway last week with the amount of people that are there, it was really noticeable, and it super drives the team on. Part of the driving our green wave is that inspiring the next group of people, and we want them to come to games, and it's super important to us, and we're super aware of it, and we can't hope that people keep coming in and it keeps growing and getting bigger, which I've absolutely no doubt it will.